Hello!
Hi!
Welcome to Let's Learn About, the show where we teach you things you didn't need to know, but we're going to teach them to you anyway.
Feels good to be back.
Yeah, it feels like so long, and I don't know why.
Considering we've only not recorded for about 2 weeks, and in the interim we've had at least 2 catch-ups.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's for those of you who don't know, this is the first episode that we are recording in the brand new year that is 2022. Obviously,
Yeah.
those of you who keep up with our regularly scheduled programming will know that we had our 100th episode last week. So it's not the first episode of this year, but it's the first one that we are actually recording this year. So hello. Hope you all had a new year and a lovely Christmas.
Yeah.
Mine was really good. It was nice to actually spend some time with my family and not get booted out on Christmas Eve, like Christmas Day Eve, because people have told you can't stay with your family. It's a So yeah, I had a really, really, really chill Christmas, and being back at work this week, as much as I love my job, oh God, it was hard.
Oh, I feel that.
Yeah.
So
mine was week back, so it was like
yeah, mine was kind of all over the place, considering my sister got COVID.
How's she doing, by the way?
She's fine now. She's all right. She's free. She got 2 negative tests in a row. So but yeah, so I am a twin, in case anyone doesn't know, and my sister got a positive COVID test on the morning of our birthday, which was the 27th of December. Yeah, it was the morning of our birthday. She was feeling rough for a couple of days anyway. She just had a bit of a cough, so she was like, we had loads of tests anyway in the house. Like, I'm lucky enough that because I work in a school, I get loads of lateral flow tests like given to me from the school. So I took a couple for them, like a couple of boxes for them to do at home. And she was negative on Christmas Day, and then negative again on the 26th. So we were just like, okay, and that's interesting. So she did one again on that morning just to be sure, and it was positive. So she was like, oh God, because I know it can take like 48 hours or something for it to actually come up on a test.
It can.
So yeah, so then she went to go and do like a drive-in PCR test on our birthday. So it was a bit weird. It was a bit strange. So one thing that's interesting is that for the past 3 years, me and my sister have had the worst birthdays. Like 2 years ago,
you have had a running spate of it. You really have.
Yeah, 2 years ago, my mum's car door like was broken, and when you open that door, it like sometimes wouldn't shut again. Like sometimes you had to try and lift up the handle and then like slam it shut and then put the handle back down. It was really strange. So we just weren't using that door for a while. So our plan for that day was to go out to get food, and then we were going to go to Swansea to like this botanical garden place. And I stupidly opened that door when we went out for food, and it would not shut. Like my stepdad stood there for like 10 minutes trying to shut this door, and it just wouldn't shut. So he sat in the car while he phoned the RAC, and then we just had to go and sit. We went into the harvester, and then they actually took this little like takeaway box of food out to my stepdad in the car. So he sat there with this box of food and a fork, just like in the car, eating this harvester. And then the car had to be taken away to the garage, and then it was there for like a couple of days. So we couldn't do anything for our birthday. Like we just sort of walked around Tesco and like went home again. And yeah, that was interesting. And then the same day, we decided that we were gonna, my sister was in work the next day, and she was going to go home late on our birthday so she could just stay at home. But then she decided, because the day was a bit rubbish, she decided to go and get some work clothes from her flat and bring them back to my mum's. We could stay over. And then as she was driving home, we got a phone call, and she said that she crashed her car on a roundabout. And someone drove into her. She was going round the roundabout, and someone pulled out of a junction and drove into the side of it and wrote her car off.
Oh no!
So that happened on the same day. So like for everything to happen in the same day was just insane. And my mum was like, at the time she was like, oh, we'll laugh about it eventually, and we were like, no, we won't, this is the worst day ever, this is gonna suck forever. And now I'm like, yeah, we can laugh about it now. Like,
funny.
Everything was just, it was just such a sucky day. But then we my mum tried to make it up by just like, she bought us a couple of nice things in Tesco, and then we just like wandered around the shops, and then we got like a big takeaway and stuff. But it was just like everything that could happen. And then last year, obviously, we're in the big lockdown, like the last minute lockdown. So we didn't see our mum at all on our birthday, because I went to stay at my sister's, and we couldn't leave. We just like sat in my sister's flat. And then this year she got COVID, so it's been an excellent 3 years of birthdays. We're kind of hoping that our 28th birthday this year is going to be completely like almost boring. Like, we hope that it goes so smoothly that we wish that something exciting would have happened.
Well, they do say everything comes in threes, so I sincerely hope for the two of you that the next birthday is fine. Just fine. It doesn't have to be special. Just fine.
Just fine. No crashed cars. No positive COVID cases.
No, just a nice normal birthday.
Yeah. But anyway, bit of a tangent.
Tangents aside.
But it is interesting that I talk about this, because my episode today is actually about birthdays, funnily enough. I've only just made that connection in my head, which is amazing.
Why did you think I got you on the tangent, dude?
Yeah.
One of the rare occasions where I knew what the episode was about. So I was like, I'll just slowly walk you to this.
So I am going to be talking about why we celebrate birthdays, a little bit of the history of birthdays, and some birthday traditions around the world. It's kind of interesting time to pick it, because it's like almost dead center between our birthdays.
Yes. So obviously yours was on in December, just after Christmas, and mine is coming up in literally as of today that we're recording, which is a Sunday, 2 weeks time.
So I think I counted the days, and I think it is exactly the same number of days between our birthdays today. So amazing. I was going to do this closer to my birthday, but then I just didn't. So
other things happened. We had more pressing episodes to get out.
Exactly.
This works out anyway.
So I'll start with a little bit of history about why we actually celebrate birthdays, because it hasn't always been the done thing. However, the lack of history on sort of early birthday celebrations might be due to a lack of wealth. So there's a theory that only nobles were the ones who would used to have they would be the ones that could afford to celebrate their birthday, and anyone other than these nobles were not likely to have been written about, so could have been forgotten. So it could just be that many birthday celebrations did happen, but no one was there to document them. So historically, we only have what was documented. But we go right back to the earliest civilizations, when people had no way to keep track of time other than by using the moon and the sun and sort of other important events to sort of use as an anchor point. So this obviously made it difficult for them to pay attention to the anniversary of a person's birth. Like, they might not have known when a year had passed, but since someone was born. So as time went on, people realized that they all experienced the effects of aging, and they just didn't have a means to mark the special milestone for it each year. It wasn't until people began taking note of the moon's cycles that they began paying attention to the change in seasons, and they noticed that the pattern repeated itself over and over. So they began marking these changes on the first calendars, which marked time changes and other special days, and they were now more able to celebrate birthdays and other significant events and anniversaries each year, because they could kind of roughly mark them on the very early calendars. So scholars have said that the earliest mention of a birthday was around 3000 BCE and was in reference to a pharaoh's birthday. But further studies imply that this wasn't their birth into the world, but their birth as a god. So when Egyptian pharaohs were crowned in ancient Egypt, they were considered to have transformed into gods, and the moment became a more important moment in their lives than their actual birth. It was kind of like their rebirth as a god.
Fair play.
That's potentially what they could have meant by birthday instead of like their actual birth. So fast forward to ancient Greece, at one of our clearly favorite times on this podcast, and we need to go through and count how many times we've said ancient Greece, because it's gotta be hundreds.
The ancient Greeks did so much
exactly
for us, and they're just really cool. They're just really cool.
So when gods and goddesses were they were obviously a huge part of culture, and as a tribute to the lunar goddess Artemis, the Greeks would offer up moon-shaped cakes adorned with lit candles to recreate the glowing radiance of the moon and Artemis's perceived beauty. The candles also symbolized the sending of a signal or prayer. So we potentially have the Greeks to thank for our tradition of birthday candles, as well as many other things.
And kind of birthday cakes in a weird way, the fact that they put the candles on the cake.
And I'm also wondering if maybe I know it's just about like tins, I guess, like shapes of them, but I wonder if that's where like the round cake potentially could also come from, if it's like the shape of the moon. Maybe. I don't know, not sure. But it's assumed that the Greeks adopted the Egyptian tradition of celebrating the birth of a god. They, like many other pagan cultures, because a lot of ancient Greeks were pagan, they thought that days of major change, such as these birthdays, actually, like in terms of the gods' rebirth days rather than like actual birthdays, welcomed evil spirits. So they lit candles in response to these spirits, almost as if they represented a light in the darkness. And this implies that birthday celebrations also started as a form of protection.
Okay.
So in addition to candles, friends and family would gather around the birthday celebrator and protect them from harm with good cheers, thoughts, and wishes. And they would give gifts to bring even more cheer that would ward off the evil spirits.
Oh, it's all making so much more sense.
Yeah.
Because it's weird. Like, if you think about birthdays intrinsically, like, why do we sit around and sing happy birthday to the poor sod that's sitting there being like, what do I do? Everyone's singing at me. I feel like that. I don't like people singing at me for my birthday, because you're just sitting there being like, because you're the only person that can't do anything in that, and it's just like a lot of people looking at you. But
I guess at least when I've like with a twin, there's always two of us there, so we can always just look at each other like,
exactly. I just end up in this position.
But it kind of
blow out the cake.
Think about it as they're all singing at you to ward off the evil spirits. Makes more sense.
It makes more sense. It makes me feel better the next time we do it.
So it was then the ancient Romans who were the first to celebrate the birth of the common man. And this seems to be the first time in history where a civilization celebrated the birth of non-religious figures. So regular Roman citizens would celebrate the birthdays of their friends and family members, and any Roman turning 50 would receive a special cake baked with wheat flour, olive oil, grated cheese, and honey.
Oh, that sounds quite nice, actually. And not just because there's cheese in it.
But an important thing to note is that only men, of course, would experience this birthday celebration. And female birthdays were not celebrated until about the 12th century. So thanks, guys.
Really hard not to say.
I know. Exclude us as always. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah. So in Christianity, it's believed that all people are born with original sin, and that in combination with early birthdays being tied to pagan gods, led Christians to consider birthdays to be celebrations of evil. This
just suck the joy out of everything, Christianity.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. So this lasted for the first few hundred years of the existence of the Christian church, and it wasn't until the 4th century that Christians abandoned that way of thinking and began celebrating the birth of Jesus. So it is a bit hypocritical, really, to like shun birthdays and then make Christmas one of their biggest celebrations.
Like one of the biggest celebrations in the world.
And like the nativity story, which is literally an entire story about the birth of a child. Like,
yes, but anyone else's birthday is sinful, except for Jesus's.
And celebrating the birth of Jesus was partly enacted to recruit those who had already celebrated Saturnalia, the Roman holiday.
Yeah.
So Christianity is just like a big pyramid scheme, really, when you think about it.
Christianity is an MLM.
Surely all religions are like that. All religions are MLMs. All religions.
No, I quite like
schemes.
the fact that it's just Christianity.
Yeah.
Because I quite like a lot of other religions. Like Buddhism, I can get behind. Hinduism is fascinating to study.
Yeah.
Judaism is incredible. And actually, what Christianity is, you know, a side hustle of.
Yeah.
I just really like the idea of Christianity being the MLM religion.
Pyramid scheme.
Apologies for any Christians out there.
Yeah, we are only joking.
We are only joking.
We have to put that out there. It's just the word recruit just instantly makes me think of a pyramid scheme. Anyway, moving on. So at this point, birthdays had been celebrated around the world, even in China, where a child's first birthday was more special than most. Kinderfest, which started in the late 18th century, was the name for a German birthday party that is closest to today's style of parties. Although it does just kind of sound like it instantly makes me think of some sort of like festival for like Kinder chocolate, like Kinderfest.
Easter.
Yeah, for like specifically Kinder.
Just
like
Kinder
they just
chocolate.
have like Kinder eggs being sold at this giant festival.
Why do I now want a Kinder egg? Are the shops still open? We'll take a small break.
Where was I?
Small children, first birthday.
Yeah. These parties were held for German children and featured a birthday cake with candles. Thanks, Greeks. And kids were given one candle on the cake for each year they'd been alive, and plus one for the hope of living for at least one more year.
I mean, it's always a bonus, really.
Yeah. And blowing out these candles while making a wish was a big part of these celebrations. For a long time, sugary cakes were a birthday commodity only wealthy people had access to because of the ingredients being seen as luxuries. But then the Industrial Revolution happened, and it made way for more people to be able to enjoy birthday celebrations with cakes and other goods. The required ingredients became more widely available, and also in combination with advances in mass production, bakeries could now offer customers pre-made cakes at lower prices. So now that we know a little bit more about the history of birthdays, I thought we can look at some of the ways that people celebrate birthdays around the world. I've covered quite a few countries, some of them sort of more than others. And yeah, I obviously couldn't cover every single country in the world. But yeah, if your country isn't mentioned here and you want to share your traditions with us, please do. That would be really cool. So yeah, I'm going to start with a tradition that you've probably already heard of. I've mostly seen it from like American TV shows, and that is the Quinceanera, and that is Latin American tradition that marks the passage from girlhood into womanhood, and it's both a religious and a social event that emphasizes the importance of family and society in the life of a young woman. It's celebrated in Mexico, Latin America, and the Caribbean, as well as various Latino communities in the US and elsewhere. So the celebration begins with a mass in church attended by the girl and her family and godparents to give thanks for the girl making the transition to a young woman. She might wear a full-length ball gown in the color of her choice and carry a matching bouquet. This is then followed by a massive reception or party where all friends and family attend. The party is a big extravagant affair that can go on for several hours, and there will be flowers, balloons, decorations, all matching the birthday girl's dress. The party will consist of dinner and dancing, and the parents, godparents, and other family members often have roles to play in the celebration. There are also a few symbolic events that I think are particularly common in Mexico. I saw in a couple of sources. As always, I'll try my best with Spanish pronunciations, but I apologize in advance. So the first one is Chambollanis, and it translates as chamberlains, and these are boys and young men who escort the girl and perform a choreographed dance with her. Cool. The dance is referred to as a waltz, but often incorporates other dance styles, and girls might ask friends, cousins, or other family members, neighbors, or anyone that they know if they want to sort of be one of her chambelanes. There's then La Ultima Muñeca, I think, and that is the last doll. The birthday girl is presented with a doll, which is said to be her last doll because after turning 15, she'll be too old to play with them anymore. As part of the ritual, she passes the doll to a younger sister or another younger family member, so it sort of passes over to them. There's then the last flower bouquet as well. The birthday girl is offered a bouquet of flowers, which is first. The first flower bouquet, which is symbolically the first flowers that she is offered as a young woman.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah. And then finally, which sounds like the most fun part of it, I would love it, is she might break 15 small piñatas. One for each year of her life.
Hell yeah.
That sounds super fun. I love a piñata.
Yes.
So the climax of the festivities is the cutting of a multi-tiered birthday cake, and the guests all sing the traditional birthday song to the birthday girl. The quinceanera is celebrated on a grand scale and often ends up being very costly for the family. So it's customary that the extended family and good family friends will make contributions or help in providing things that are necessary for the party. I think in more recent times, some families have decided not to throw a party and will instead use the money they'll put it towards the girl going on a trip instead. So they'll she can go on a little holiday instead. Yeah. Which sounds great. So next up, we have
Quinceaneras is one of those things. It's nice that there is a tradition for women for their birthdays. Yeah. And because I don't believe they're for boys, it is literally just for the girls, isn't it? So it's nice for once that there is a tradition that is female centric. Yeah. And they just always look really cool. You were right that you tend to see them more on American TV shows. Yeah. I think the most recent one for me, having seen it, is One Day at a Time.
Okay. Yeah. I need to watch that.
Oh, dude, it's so good. Elena, the eldest daughter, she has a quinceanera. Yeah. But it was really nice to see it like a modern interpretation of it. Like they bring up really good points about it, because originally she doesn't want one. Yeah. But her mum and her grandma were trying to explain to her the culture behind it. And then she does end up having it, but she has a modern twist because she's gay, and she doesn't want to wear the big poofy dress. So they get her like an outfit that really represents her, but they still keep the traditions, like the chambale you said, where they have the boys dancing behind her. And it was just really cool to watch it, because it's not something that's really here in the UK. Obviously, I don't live around and have never lived around like any Latin communities or anything like that here in the UK. But you definitely don't see it represented around here a lot. But yeah, they always do look really cool when you see them on TV shows.
So next up is Germany. And I think we've covered Germany in quite a few of these sort of tradition related episodes, just because there's so many German traditions that are always quite bizarre.
They are bizarre, but then you got to remember that the reason a lot of them end up coming here is because of Queen Victoria's husband, Albert, where he was German. So a lot of the German traditions, whether it be Christmas or birthdays or anything like that, weirdly end up in the UK, and you can pretty much always trace it back to the royal family somewhere.
But yeah, so Germany has some very strange traditions. And most of them are explained by Sean, I'm not sure how you say his name, Behrens, who runs a podcast called The Germany Experience, about life in Germany from the eyes of outsiders. He's from South Africa.
Oh, cool.
But I think has lived in Germany for years. So it's quite funny reading this article where he's just like, it's so weird. Why do they do this? So his first one is that it's customary to approach the person whose birthday it is, wish them happy birthday, and then shake their hand. So this means that if you're the one celebrating your birthday, you can pretty much expect to be shaking hands all day.
Oh no.
I do wonder how that works right now. Like, does that happen? Do they just, is it an elbow bump instead?
Hey.
Yeah. But yeah, there's even a German children's song about birthdays, and there's a line that means "we shake your hand eternally." And he said in this article, and yes, you will feel like you are eternally shaking people's hands on your birthday. So next, if it's your birthday and you're inviting people out to a bar or to a meal or whatever to celebrate, the cardinal rule is that you're paying. So I actually don't think this one's too crazy. Like, if you're inviting people along to celebrate your birthday, surely it makes sense that you don't make them pay. But yeah, so many German birthday hosts opt to pay for only the starters or like only the first round of drinks as just sort of like a token. Which is only acceptable providing you make it clear to your guests in advance that they will need to pay for for themselves for the rest of the evening. Otherwise you might still have to just like fork out money to pay for them.
Get the credit card. It's weird, isn't it? Because that's definitely a debate I've had to have in the past, because I was always brought up to believe that if you invite people out for your birthday, you pay. But I'm surrounded by people who are of the opposite opinion, where it's like, no, it's your birthday, you're not paying. And it's like, but I invited you. If you invited me, if you organized it and you said, come here, we're going to celebrate your birthday, then yes, absolutely, you pay, no problem at all. But if I'm inviting you, I am always under the illusion that I am paying.
But it's very strange.
It's a debatable topic though. Anyone who's listening to this, I would love to hear your opinions. Are you of the opinion that your birthday, you invite people out, you pay? Or are you of the opinion that it's your birthday, other people pay? Because every time I talk to someone about this, everyone's like, no, are you crazy? It is. And it's like,
because it's kind of, I feel like if you invite someone along to your birthday celebration, there's kind of almost a bit of an obligation to go. But then you have to like pay for it yourself, and it's kind of like, if you can't afford it, you then kind of feel bad that you can't go to someone's birthday. Like, it's
exactly. It's
at
the very
definitely
least, I organize. I definitely in the past, as we've got older and obviously encountered people who are like, no, it's your birthday, what are you doing? I will then agree to go, okay, in the cinema, I'll pay for the tickets. And everyone splits the bill for the meal. And there are compromises to it, but it is, very much no. If I'm doing the inviting, I'm paying.
So tell us what you think.
Which side are you guys on?
If we'll have to do a poll somewhere, we'll have to do it on like Instagram stories, see what people think. So following on from that, it's also your responsibility to provide cake or any other celebratory snacks on your birthday for co-workers. And you're not off the hook if your birthday falls on a day when you're not at work. So for example, if your birthday is on a Saturday and you only work weekdays, your colleagues will be expecting cake on Monday. You can opt not to provide anything, but in most cases it will be frowned upon and people will be like, oh, okay, so they're not bringing anything then.
Again, that doesn't feel weird to me, because at work, if it's someone's birthday, we always bring in the snacks for our own birthday.
Which,
and again,
makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, because why would I expect my colleagues to A, remember it's my birthday, and B, then give me food? It's like, no, I'll bring in a cake, it's fine. But again, has caused arguments at work. Like, we had a new girl in, and she was like, oh yeah, no, I'll bring in snacks for my birthday. And my manager turned around and was like, no, what are you doing? It's your birthday, we'll bring in snacks. And it was a bit like, then everyone brought in snacks, and then we just had a lot of food. We had a lot of food,
which is the best possible outcome. I think
it is the best possible outcome. It's pretty great. But yeah, there's definitely, it's weird. They don't feel so weird to me. Those two.
You're kind of providing for your own celebration, which to me makes sense. If you're making people celebrate your birthday, then don't make them pay to do it.
No, that doesn't feel right somehow.
So finally, the strangest of all the German birthday traditions is that you never, ever, under any circumstances, mention someone's birthday before their birthday. So this means no early birthday cards, no early gifts, and no party before your birthday. The most impractical part of this rule, according to Sean, who wrote the article, is that you're fairly limited regarding exactly when you can hold a birthday party. So let's say you have a birthday coming up while you're on holiday for a few weeks and you want to celebrate with your friends on the weekend before you leave. It's just a normal party. It's not a birthday party, and no one will mention that it's your birthday. Like, no one will say to you happy birthday because it's not your birthday yet, and it's bad luck to tell you to say happy birthday to you when it's not your birthday yet. But celebrating afterwards is fine, like even months after your actual birthday, but absolutely under no circumstances is it ever before your birthday.
So what's the cutoff with that then? Like, can you essentially have a late birthday party up to 6 months after your birthday, and then after those 6 months it's classed as early, and then you can't do it anymore?
I don't know. The only case where you may celebrate the day before is if you're planning to celebrate into your birthday. So if people are staying with you until like past midnight when it hits your birthday, and then you may have a party the night before. However, your friends will all arrive, but no one will mention why they're there. And Sean said it's like a bit of a farce thing. Like, it turns into a bit of an open secret. Like, nobody mentions why they're there, but then as soon as it gets to midnight, everyone counts down like it's New Year's Eve, and then you get all of your birthday wishes.
That's amazing.
Like, I love it. Can you imagine? Nobody there can mention the word birthday at all. And everyone knows why they're there, but nobody's allowed to mention it like it's this big secret. But then everyone just erupts at midnight, and they're just like, finally, we can say happy birthday.
Now the celebrating can begin.
That actually sounds pretty great.
It does sound great, but that really limits you.
It's very weird.
There have been occasions, again, January birthday, it's a bit difficult. People are usually skint and it's cold and you can't do anything. And it's like, oh, can I change my birthday to like July? That would be better. But yeah, there's definitely been occasions where I've had to celebrate early for whatever reason it be, whether it falls on a Monday and you want to celebrate it the weekend before. Celebrating it like the weekend after feels like, no, it's too late, it's gone too far past the birthday. Like, no, we'll do it the weekend before.
I guess I'd be fine because I was only 2 days after Christmas, especially when we were kids. We couldn't really get that many people together 2 days after, so we would a lot of the time hold off until January, so we would be fine. We would stick to that rule.
Exactly.
But it's just bizarre. There was one that I didn't write down in my notes, but another thing was that apparently if you're not married, I think by the time you're 25 or 30 or something like that, then you if you're a woman, your friends would get you to like do chores like cleaning what is it, like cleaning door handles or like doorknobs, and if you're a man, you would publicly have to like go out and sweep steps of like the town hall or something, and it would give people a chance to come and like walk past you and see if you're doing a good enough job to like warrant being a good like housewife or house husband.
As a 30-year-old, I'm just going to slowly slide off the screen.
Yeah.
It's like, no, goodbye.
Like a lot of things I saw is specific to like men, like 25-year-old men or something. But
25 so young though.
25, I know. But yeah, it was traditionally a way where people could come and basically judge your housekeeping skills to see if you were worthy of marriage.
Oh, so people turn around and go, oh, that's why she's not married. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes so more sense.
Because she can't clean doorknobs properly.
Why doorknobs though? Out of all the things to clean, why doorknobs?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, that's really weird. And I'm so glad that we don't have that over here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'd be screwed.
So now to cover some of the other countries, those are the two where I find most of the stuff about. So the rest of them I've kind of just got little snippets of things that I could find. So Brazil, family, friends, and even strangers will pull at the ears of the birthday celebrator, one tug for each year old. They will like pull at your earlobe, and the idea behind the custom is to wish that the child lives so long that their ears touch the ground.
Nice.
Like, okay, sure.
That's really cool. It's about the only instance I would accept people doing that, because say, oh, this is how long my ears are. Hell yeah.
I didn't realize that your earlobes grow that much as you age, but there you go.
Do you think that's where the song comes from?
Maybe.
Do your ears hang low? Do they wobble to and fro? Can you tell? Can you? If anyone out there knows that that's the reason why that song exists, because of that tradition, let us know, because that would be amazing.
I have also heard though that apparently that song has like been changed for childhood audiences, and like it used to basically be about men's balls.
Oh, I thought you were going to say women's boobs, because there is the unsafe for work version.
Yeah.
It's like,
but no, there's also apparently the origins that it's like men would sing it about their own scrotums.
Do your balls hang low? Do they wobble? Yeah, it still works. Yeah. I'm never going to be able to sing that song again in the correct child-friendly version. It's going to be the unadulterated version from now onwards.
So moving on to Ecuador. A child may only receive a phone call or a card on their actual birthday, as they celebrate their birthday properly on the day of the saint that they are named after.
That's cool.
So Saints' Day parties are usually an afternoon tea party where the children are served raisin cake, fancy cookies, and hot chocolate, which sounds so nice.
That sounds really nice.
When a girl turns 15, so similar to Quinceanera, there's a great celebration where the birthday girl wears a pink dress and her father puts on the girl's first pair of high heels and dances the waltz with her. While 14 girls and boys also dance the waltz alongside them. That sounds cute.
That sounds really sweet.
The Netherlands, certain birthdays are more special than others. So just like in the UK and the US, and I'm sure other Western countries as well, we put more emphasis on ages like 16, 18, and 21. Yes. People in the Netherlands call special years the crown years, and crown years happen at 5, 10, 15, 20, and 21.
So bucking the trend slightly for 21, but okay.
Yeah. So on these days, kids receive big gifts and are treated with lemonade and hot chocolate. Linda, please tell us if this is true. Please tell us if you know about this.
If you have experienced it, Linda, tell us.
To everyone else, Linda is one of our patrons from the Netherlands.
Yes, and also one of our guest episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Vietnam, everyone's birthday is celebrated on New Year's Day in a celebration called Tet. And not only is it the beginning of New Year, but it's also everyone's birthday. So the Vietnamese don't acknowledge the exact day they were born. Instead, a baby turns 1 on this New Year's Day celebration, no matter when they were born that year. Children say they were born in the year of the symbol of the lunar calendar for that year.
Okay.
So On the first morning of the celebration, adults congratulate children on becoming a year older by presenting them with red money envelopes. And these envelopes are given to the children by parents, siblings, relatives, or close friends. So China, quite similar with like the red money envelopes. I think I've definitely seen it as being like a Chinese New Year thing, like that's seeing the little red envelopes. But according to a few sources, the Chinese typically only celebrate certain birthdays, the 1st, 10th, 60th, 70th, and 80th. And the 60th birthday is important because it's seen as completing a full zodiac.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So birthdays are typically family affairs, but they can also be big events. Food includes a bowl of noodles, which are super long, like they're really long noodles that the person kind of slurps into their mouth. And it's believed that a long slurp of a noodle equals a long life for the person celebrating.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and the biggest birthday gala for a Chinese child happens at age 1. Relatives and friends bring armfuls of small treasures to spread near the baby, things like pens and coins, and flowers and books and things like that. And whatever the baby grabs first is supposed to mark what he or she will be drawn to do later in life.
That's cool.
So that's cute.
That's really cool. It's really interesting because they mentioned that in Avatar: The Last Airbender is how they determine who the next Avatar is, like when the previous one dies, and they're obviously trying to find the kid who's going to be the next one because it's done on a reincarnation cycle. So all the babies that are born on the day that the previous avatar dies, at some point they will present those babies with like a certain number of toys, and the ones they pick out determine which one's the next avatar, because the avatar picks out the same 4 toys, like the same 4 combination. So that's really cool that there's actually a real life tradition that could potentially be related to. That's
cool. Also, the actual day, similar to what I just said about Vietnam, the actual day of the person's birth might not be when the person celebrates their birthday. So Chinese people recognize their birthday again by the astrological calendar, or the lunar calendar. So at birth, the child is seen as 1 year old and turns 2 on the Chinese New Year.
Oh, okay.
So if a child is born at the end of 1 year, he might be seen as 2 years old when he's technically only 2 days old. Because they're classed as 1 year old as soon as they're born, and then as soon as it gets to New Year, they're classed as like that's their second birthday.
Oh wow.
So interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to say the words that sounds confusing, because of course different have different practices, so I'm trying not to be like, that's confusing.
We're just simple-minded Brits, that's why.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around it from like a medical standpoint. Like if you have again, as you said, if you have like a child that was born on like the 30th of December, and then of course they turn 2 on the 1st of January, but they're only 2 days old. Like developmentally, surely ages are important. Maybe, but maybe we're just seeing it from a very Western perspective, and they have that all sorted over there. If anyone happens to be listening and knows the significance behind that in terms of what we were just talking about, so like in terms of like medical, mental and stuff like that, be really fascinated to find out how that works in your society and your culture in that respect. Like feel free to give us a shout, because I would be really interested to learn because from a Western perspective it sounds weird, but for your culture, if that's what you've grown up knowing and doing, it's perfectly normal. So anyone happens to know, feel free to educate us, because I would love to find out.
So Japan again is quite similar. birthdays aren't celebrated annually like they are in a lot of other places. Similar to Chinese traditions, the Japanese traditionally celebrate, again, a person turning a year older on New Year's Day. Similar to sort of our birthday celebrations, they might have a small gathering, a cake, and singing might occur. And instead of an official party, young children participate in the 753 celebration, which is held on specifically on the 15th of November, because children often died young in ancient times. When a boy reaches the age of 5 or a girl reaches the ages of 3 and 7, the child puts on their finest clothes and visits a religious shrine to give thanks for health. And they might also be allowed to buy a treat, like a bag of sweets or something, on the journey. But I wonder why for boys it's 5, but then for girls it's 3 and 7.
Not sure, but the girls get 2 birthdays out of it, so yay.
And again, it's something that's just rooted in like historic tradition. Like, it's not really needed now, I guess, that people don't die as young as they used to.
No.
But yeah, it's something that they still do that's just sort of from...
It's also another reason why, when you were saying right at the back of the beginning of the episode, only wealthy people celebrated birthdays. It could just be that the lower classes where the mortality rate was worse because they didn't have access to the current medical practices. Obviously the rich and wealthy would have had access to doctors and who like knew the latest medical practices, and they would have been, you know, the more hygiene and stuff like that, whereas the lower classes where they didn't have access to all of that, in many respects it probably wasn't worth celebrating a child's birthday until they got to a certain age anyway, because you didn't know if they were even going to make it that far. And then by the time you realize, oh no, this kid, it's going to stick around, essentially. By that point, it's like, well, no, because now they're old enough to work and stuff like that. So what's the point? But no, it's interesting. The whole concept of birthdays, it's like celebrating the day you're born. Technically, why are we celebrating something that we actively had no hand in? We are celebrating, really, it should be the day to celebrate the mums. Like, thank you for tearing yourself a heart. Here's some flowers. Thank you muchly. The notion and concept of it is quite weird, but hearing the traditions behind it and how they came about is very, very interesting.
Like, I wonder if you could just, like, if we complain about when our birthday is, why can't we just say, well, I'm going to celebrate in June from now on? Like,
there's nothing stopping us.
It's such an arbitrary thing that just because that was the day we were born, surely you can still just celebrate your year of birth at any time you want.
Well, if people in Japan and China and everywhere can all celebrate their birthdays on New Year, why can't we? I think I actually saw it on Instagram somewhere. There's someone, I can't remember who it was. She's got a January birthday as well. And she's decided, because she's fed up of no one being around because it's post-Christmas, everyone's skint. And she's literally just turned around and gone, nope, I've decided my birthday is in June. Because I am an adult and I can choose to do this. And she's now just celebrating her birthday in June. It doesn't matter.
We should all be like the Queen.
Have 2 birthdays.
Yeah, the Queen gets a summer birthday. Why can't we?
Hell yeah. And she doesn't even have a January birthday.
No.
She actually has a genuine birthday at a sensible time of year.
My friend's birthday is 20th of June, and that's like the perfect date. Like, you can't have a more perfect birthday date than the 20th of June, like dead middle of the year.
Well, I suppose you could have April 25th. Not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket. But no, like, people who have summer birthdays. My sister has an August birthday. She always got to have a party, like, out in the field with like tents and music and be outside because it was fucking hot.
And then you also don't have to wait an entire year then for any kind of celebration. Like, we have everything that happens in one go. And then we have to wait an entire 11 months before anything else happens.
Sucks. It sucks.
I
It's
want
great
more
now.
things to be about me, god damn it.
But like, I completely get you, because it's like when it's currently this time of year, it's great because like it's, you've just had Christmas and then you got your birthday and then the second it hits February, I'm just like,
11 months to go.
I've got to wait.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
On retrospect, it is also very handy because I have 11 months to save, because not only is it my birthday on my birthday, I celebrate, for anyone who doesn't know, much like you are not the only one that celebrates your birthday alone. Well, not alone, should I say. I also share my birthday with two immediate members of my family. And bearing in mind, I am not a twin. It just so happened to work out that way. I share my actual genuine birthday. And we to this day do not know how my mum managed to work this, but only my mum could do it. I share my birthday with both myself, my stepdad, and my little brother. We are all born on the same day. Different years, same day. So there's 3 of us on one day.
That's mad.
And now in the calendar, ever since my brother was born, it's now just known as the birthday.
The birthday.
Because everyone that's not us 3 has to buy 3 presents. Us 3, we only have to do 2. So it's like, score. Not quite so expensive for us, but it's a bit like you can't forget it because there's 3 of us. So if you forget one of ours, you forget all of us.
I
don't know how it happens. It's nuts. But kind of wish sometimes we didn't have such a long gap between celebrating stuff, but it's how the world works.
Anyway, next, nice little tangent again.
Yes,
we have India, and birthdays are spiritual as well as secular celebrations. Indian children start their birthdays by visiting a shrine with their parents for blessings for the year ahead. And that's followed by a party of food, desserts, and dancing, and gifts of new clothes and accessories like bracelets are given that they can wear to school the next day, and they can sort of show everyone their new clothes.
Nice.
I think it's a customary thing to have like a whole new outfit on your birthday.
Hell yeah.
Egypt, family and friends are invited to a party that includes, again, singing and dancing. Flowers and fruit are the main party decorations, and are seen as symbols of life and growth. Egyptians usually have a birthday cake, but don't usually send cards like people in like the US and the UK do. Australia, I'm rattling through a lot of countries here. There's just lots to get through. Australia, a lot of birthday parties are barbecues because the weather is typically warm. So it makes sense to take the festivities outdoors. Did you have any birthdays while you were in Australia?
Not Australia, no. I ended up going to Australia at the beginning of September. I'm trying to remember. No, in the middle of what would be their winter, so June. And then I left just shortly before Christmas, about November time. So I was only there for a matter of like 5 months. I ran out of money very quickly. New Zealand, yes, but obviously didn't celebrate with a barbecue. Celebrated Christmas with a barbecue. I will just say that because over there Christmas is in the middle of their summer. So having Christmas dinner be a barbecue swiftly followed by pavlova, nice. And being on the beach for the day was an interesting experience. Really cool. It's really cool to be on like a really hot sunny beach on Christmas Day. It's like, whoa. But no, didn't get to celebrate an Australian birthday, I'm afraid.
But yeah, I think
they do like their barbecues out there.
I think my sister's partner's sister, that's confusing. She lives in Australia, and apparently on Christmas Day she texted to say that it was like 45 degrees. And she was like hot. She just like sent a picture of their Christmas on the beach. So strange. It doesn't make sense in my head. Like, Christmas is cold.
That is the thing. I remember sitting there because my aunt was also out there. They happened to be traveling, and I met up with them in New Zealand. for Christmas so that I wouldn't be on my own,
Yeah.
which was really cool. But yeah, all of us Brits sitting on the beach being like, it doesn't feel like Christmas if it wasn't for the fact that those drunk Germans over there who are currently hungover asleep on the beach are all wearing Santa hats. Genuine story. I'm not just being mean to the Germans on this one. They were genuinely German tourists that had been out the night before in Nelson, New Zealand, got and basically dragged themselves from wherever they were staying to the beach and was so hungover they just spent the day asleep on the beach, and all you could see was just these row of Santa hats.
Oh my god, I love it.
And also someone made a sand castle in the shape of a Christmas tree and then wrapped tinsel around it and stuck a star on top.
Nice.
That was my Christmas day when I was out there, and it is, as a Brit, it's very odd, but really cool at the same time.
Yeah. So parties are typically decorated with balloons and streamers, and a cake with candles is brought out. And again, as sort of our traditions, they all blow out the candles and make a wish. Giving the key to the house occurs for a lot of people when the person celebrating the birthday comes of age. The tradition is also celebrated in Ireland, and it signifies the ability for the new adult to come and go as they see fit.
That's cool.
Children will eat a special dish called fairy bread, which is white bread slathered with butter and then covered in coloured sprinkles or hundreds of thousands.
I did get to try fairy bread while I was out there. It's pretty cool. I kind of wish we had it as a kid because it would be the perfect.
Yeah.
It's so simple. It's so simple.
Bread with hundreds of thousands on.
And some butter, because you've got to stick the hundreds and thousands on there somehow.
They wouldn't stick very well otherwise. Just roll straight off.
But it's got to be like the whitest of bread. Like the most chemical filled, like American style white bread. Like, none of this sort of like whole wheat seeded nonsense. It's white.
Norwegians are big on celebrating birthdays. Ooh. Children whose birthdays fall on a school day will be recognised in class. Mm-hmm. And Norwegians celebrate birthdays with parties, including all the typical sort of things: food, music, dancing, cake. The cake is typically chocolate or fruit and cream cake. And typical party foods might include seafood and fresh fruit, among sort of the nice sort of naughtier treats as well. The sugary treats. The 18th birthday is a big one, and kids make the formal transition to adulthood. This birthday might be larger than usual, and similar to Germany, instead of someone else throwing a party for the birthday celebrator, the birthday person plans their own party and invites all their friends and family. Yeah. Which I think is the best option, because you get all the control. You can just control what you do yourself. Yeah. Finally, or almost finally, last but one, Canada, particularly in Atlantic Canada, so Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland, the birthday child is ambushed and their nose is greased with butter for good luck. The greased nose makes the child too slippery for bad luck to catch them.
Nice. Again, that protecting people from evil spirits on their birthday.
And this is reputed to be of Scottish descent, apparently.
Really?
In Quebec, the birthday person receives a punch for each year they're alive, and then one for good luck.
Yep. Yeah, birthday bumps, yeah.
Yeah. And then finally, in the US, throughout history, Native American tribes have placed significance on milestones in a child's development rather than the day they were born. So the day the child takes their first step is cause for just as much rejoicing as the day they accept responsibilities of an adult, get married, become a parent, etc. So they always liked to celebrate sort of big developmental achievements instead, rather than just birthdays. Some children would receive birthday spankings, which were originally based on superstition, but are now more of a birthday prank or joke. Hundreds of years ago, spankings were given for each year of the birthday child's life. Beyond that number, a child would then receive another to grow on, one to live on, one to eat on, one to be happy on, and yet another spanking to get married on. Interesting.
So they get 5 additional spankings on top of cover all the bases. I don't see why not.
Yeah. And at one time it was considered bad luck if the birthday celebrant was not spanked because it was believed to soften up the body for the tomb.
Oh no.
So basically they're saying that, are they saying that you're going to die because you're too soft if you don't get spanked every year?
I mean, I would allow to get spanked just in case.
Yeah,
if that was,
historians are unsure if this practice was treated as a joke as people view it today. It's kind of unsure. But yeah, today the majority of American kids and in the UK, and I'm sure a ton of other places too, celebrate birthdays with, as we've mentioned a few times, the cake with candles lit. And they are supposed to make a wish, not tell anyone what it is, and then blow out the candles. And if the candles go out with one breath, then it's believed that the wish will come true.
Indeed.
So there you go. If you're from any of these countries, as I said earlier, or you know more about any of these traditions, please tell us if you do any of them, if you've ever even heard of them, or how you celebrate instead. Like, what do you have any traditions that you follow? I know sometimes when I read traditions that are like, this is what people do in Britain, I'm just like, I have absolutely never heard of this ever. So if you're from any of these countries and you're like, what the hell, I've never heard of that, then please tell us. I'm just going by what research I've done. But
we can only go off what the research tells us. So if you give us extra research, which would be most beneficial.
We'd be really interested. You can get in touch with us on Instagram. I would say Twitter, but we're not really there very much. We're mostly over on Instagram.
We're mostly on Instagram.
Send us a message over there, or you can come and follow us. We're at LearnaboutPod. Our website is learnaboutpod.com, where all the notes and the sources, like all the resources for this episode, will be up there, so you can see where we've done research. And you can also come and support us on Patreon. We mentioned Linda earlier is one of our patrons. You can join us over there for £2 a month, and you can get bonus episodes. We try and put out 2 bonus episodes a month, and they're just like these normal episodes, but mini-sodes for just our patrons. We will share sort of upcoming sneak peeks and little spoilers about what's to come, so you'll know everything that's coming before everyone else does. Random little bonus things that we like to do. We also do Tangent Tuesdays every week, where we share with you our recommendations for the week and just sort of updates on the podcast and our stats, and just sort of letting you in on some of the behind the scenes stuff. And we will send you a postcard, and we'll give you a shout out in every single episode at the end and in the notes below. So if you want all of that for £2 a month, then it would be really cool if you can come support us over there. I think that's
also
everything.
new thing. I say new. You can rate and review us on places that we put our podcast on, because Spotify now has a rate and review system. It's not just Apple Podcasts anymore. So if you really like our podcast and fancy giving us a little rate and review, that would be really beneficial. It really helps boost us to new people to come and find us and enjoy our work. So
because we put in so much time into these episodes, so just a quick rating and a little comment about if you enjoy it will take like 30 seconds, but it will help us out a lot with things like algorithms and, you know, trends and things, all of that fun stuff. And
it's completely you don't have to pay.
And just listening to these and coming and following us on social media means a lot too. So
we have big plans for this year.
We have an announcement coming in a couple of weeks. It will be coming next week over on our Patreon. If you're one of our patrons, you'll know next week about our new little series that we're doing on this podcast, and we're very excited about it. Some people might have guessed what it might be, because we're not really subtle, but if you haven't, then stay tuned. I think the first one will be coming at the end of the month, but as I said, if you're one of our patrons, you will know what it is next week, which is, we're so excited about it. We're so excited. So yeah, we've just got lots of exciting plans and things. We're very excited about this year.
We've already got guests lined up because we're that ahead of schedule in terms of organizing stuff like this. So we got new guests already booked. We've got the new announcement for the secret thing that we're doing for this podcast, which you'll find out at the end of the month or sooner if you are on Patreon.
Yes. Yeah. We're so excited. So thank you for your support as always. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time with another random topic.
See you next week.
Bye. Bye.